Hey everyone, and welcome back to Brian's Horror Movies for Life YouTube channel, and welcome back to this Critters franchise series where we're taking a look at all the movies from the Critters franchise. In this video, we're going to go ahead and take a look at Critters 3 from 1991, which again is part of the Scream Factory box set that the first four movies are part of. So I'll show you the back there. You can see some of the similar special features as the first two. This is the one that has Leonardo DiCaprio in it. It says Leonardo DiCaprio gives another good performance in this ravenously fun sequel. Anyway, let's talk about Critters 3 from 1991 here. So, Critters 3 is a 1991 American science fiction comedy horror direct-to-video film, and the third installment of the Critters series, directed by Christine Peterson. The film stars Amy Brooks, John Calvin, Catherine Cortez, Don Keith Opper, and Leonardo DiCaprio in his film debut. It was shot simultaneously from February 91 to July of 91, with its sequel, Critters 4. Unlike the first two films, it does not take place in the town of Grover's Bend. So the movie starts with Annie, her little brother Johnny, and their father Clifford, who are on their way home from vacation when one of their van tires blows out, forcing them to stop at a rest area. While Clifford fixes the tire, Johnny and Annie meet Josh, stepson of their corrupt landlord Briggs. While wandering into the forest to retrieve their frisbee, they encounter Charlie McFadden, the bounty hunter who is after the critters. Before they leave, Charlie gives Johnny a crystal, telling him it will glow bright green when it's time to watch out for yourself and your family. Meanwhile, an unseen critter lays eggs beneath the family's van, and the family leaves unknowingly, taking the eggs with them. Soon after they arrive at their tenement, the critters hatch and sneak into the basement, where they kill the sleazy maintenance man Frank. When Rosalie goes to the basement, she is attacked by the critters before being rescued by Annie. Meanwhile, Briggs arrives at the tenement to evict the residents, with Josh reluctantly accompanying him. When Briggs enters the room with critters inside, Josh, having grown distasteful of his stepfather, shuts the door unintentionally, trapping him with the critters, who fatally attack him. So yeah, that's to set up the premise, the beginning of Critters 3 from 1991. As far as the cast goes, we have Amy Brooks as Annie, John Calvin as Clifford, Catherine Cortez as Marcia, Leonardo DiCaprio as Josh, Jeffrey Blake as Frank, Diana Bellamy as Rosalie, William Dennis Hunt as Briggs, Frances Bay as Mrs. Menges, Bill Zuckert as Mr. Menges, and Don Keith Opper as Charlie McFadden. So yeah, that's to set up the premise and the cast for the 1991 sequel, Critters 3. Talk about a drop in quality. If you watch my first two reviews, I really liked the first Critters movie. I enjoyed and had a lot of fun with the second one. This one, and I kind of, from what I've heard from people, a lot of them have said, like, the first two Critters movies are pretty decent to good. And then after that, the rest of them are kind of crap. So far, I can agree with that. I'm not going to say that I hate this movie, but it's just a huge step down. It's a huge step down in quality from the first two. So let's just go ahead and talk about it, starting with the things that I liked about the movie, the pros. The critters. Whenever the Krites or the critters themselves are on screen, that's the best part of this movie, in my opinion. I think they continue to look very effective. There's some continuity from the first two movies as far as their look goes that I like. From an effect standpoint, I think the way they move is pretty consistent yet. So everything having to do with the critters, I still relatively enjoy. They do kind of have a screaming in this movie. They kind of make noise that we didn't get in the first two movies, which was kind of peculiar. When one of them is kind of signaling to the other two and like screaming at the top of their lungs, which was interesting. But for the most part, the critters themselves, I think, they still stand the test of time here. They have some humorous scenes as well. while still being relentless and vicious at the same time, to make me think that there's still some consistency from the first two movies as it relates to the critters. There's still a decent amount of blood and gore, mostly blood, in this movie, just like we got in the first two movies. And this is still PG-13, as I'm assuming all of these movies are. It was nice seeing Charlie McFadden back, played again by Don Keith Hopper, as providing a bit of connective tissue from the first couple of films. Even though I don't, it is my least favorite introduction to his character in this movie, and it leaves a lot of unanswered questions. But just kind of having him back and sort of having that tissue, that connectivity to the first two movies, it's good. It's good, and he does come. You see him at the beginning of the movie, and then you don't see him for the middle of the movie, but then he comes back at the end to try to help out the other characters in this movie, save them from the critters and stuff. So he's kind of become the, I guess, the human element of these critters movies. He's sort of the one that's there for all of these movies, it feels like. And even though I haven't seen the last two yet, I know he's going to be in Critters 4 because of the way this movie ends. We'll get into that. But and then my final pro is this movie's... It says it's 85 minutes long, but if you take out the opening credits and the ending credits, which I'll get into with my cons about the ending credits, really you only have about 75 minutes to maybe 75 to 80 minutes of actual movie here. So it's a very short movie. It's not a big investment. So yeah, that's a pro for this movie. You can tell I'm really reaching here because there's just not that many pros for this movie, unlike the first two movies. But let's go ahead and get into the cons for Critters 3. As I said, it's just overall, it's a big step down in writing and acting and directing and just the overall story and basically what they're expecting us to buy or go along with in this movie. It's really a stretch compared to the first two. Not that everything was tight there either. I mean, there were some leaps of faith that you had to take, but this movie, they don't even... I mean, it's just like, this is the situation, this is what it is, just go with it. And it's like, oh, okay, I guess so. And it's just a big step down, as I said. I keep coming back to that. I couldn't connect with any of the new characters here. Even the family angle that they try to repeat from the first movie here, where you have this dad of Clifford, you have the daughter Annie and the son Johnny. I just really didn't care about any of the family drama that was going on here. You know, the dad's they lost a mom. She died. I'm not really sure how. They don't really get into it. A few years before this. And the daughter, in some ways, is she's kind of the voice of reason, trying to get the dad to come around and spend time together, and the dad just wants to work and watch TV. He's kind of a douchebag, to be honest with you, but I just really didn't care about anything going on with these characters or this family drama. It just doesn't work for me the way that it worked in the first movie with the family. I think writing has a lot to do with that, but also acting. Just doesn't hit for me here. The setting is another thing. This takes place mostly in an apartment complex. Like the first 20 or 30 minutes are, well, not even. Like the first 15 or 20 minutes are at this outdoor, like rest stop, where they run into Charlie McFadden and where the tire blows out conveniently. It's very convenient that Charlie McFadden happened to be at this exact same, the same stop, the same rest stop or park or whatever it is where their tire blew out. And there happened to be critters moving around underneath their vehicle as well that happened to lay eggs, which happened to go along with them to the apartment complex. But anyway, with that being said, a lot of it takes place in this apartment complex, and it doesn't give you a whole lot more. I mean, this is actually in a bigger city. I think it might be Los Angeles or something. But you wouldn't know it because it's a one-location movie for the most part. Like, 75% of the movie takes place in this apartment complex. And it really does show the low-quality, low-budget, direct-to-video nature of this movie in comparison to the first two. Like, the second one, for example, it took place in the same small town as the first one. But they really explored this town. There was there was a lot going on here. So it almost felt like they had a bigger budget in the first one. They probably did, because those were released in theaters, where this one, and I'm assuming the fourth one, were direct to video, and you can kind of feel it here. Only 2 characters are killed in this movie, both very deserving though. You have the douchey maintenance guy that right away we hate and can't wait for him to die, and then you have the stepfather of Leonardo DiCaprio's character of Josh, who's Briggs, played by William Dennis Hunt, who all he cares about is evicting people and throwing them out on their ass and money and all that kind of stuff. What we see 100 times in every kind of movie. He dies too, and we don't really care. And the death scenes themselves, they're fine. Like I said, you get some blood, you get some critters attacking, but I don't know. I thought it was more effective in the first 2 movies. The opening and the ending credits, as I said, are like 15 minutes of the runtime of this movie. But I have to say, I really hated the ending credits, where they kind of end the third movie while transitioning to the fourth movie. And you know this because they actually have the to be continued, the same way that Back to the Future does. And at the end of Back to the Future Part 2, that actually says to be concluded, because they're going from the second to the third movie. This is to be continued from the third to the fourth movie. But Back to the Future does it a lot better than they do here, because the ending credits, there's a lot of stop and pause scenes, and then they throw up some of the ending credits on the screen, and then it resumes again as Charlie's moving around in this basement trying to kill the remaining eggs here. And then he gets a transmission, or he gets intercepted by Ugg, who we see for like 10 seconds in a hologram, played by the same actor, what's his name, from the first 2 movies. Oh, shoot. Now I forget. Not that it really matters that much, because you don't see him. Terrence Mann, there we go. But like I said, it's just in a hologram for a few seconds. But my point is, I really hated the ending credits here. Either finish your movie, do the to be continued, and then have the ending credits, or don't do the pause thing. I mean, it annoyed me. It's like, why are we continuing to have stuff happening here when you're putting I hate when movies do that in general. But again, it's just part of this movie's lower budget, lower quality direct-to-video sort of makeup to it. And there's just also a lot of things that don't make sense. I already mentioned Charlie McFadden showing up in this park where this family's truck breaks down. And then he conveniently comes back at the end to try to save the day, to varying degrees. I don't know, man. It's just... I understand with these movies you just kind of have to go with stuff, but this one really strains credulity when it comes to that, a lot more than the first 2 movies did. So anyway, those are my cons for Critters 3. I could probably find more if I really wanted to, but I'm not going to beat it up too much. Overall, I'm going to give Critters 3 a 5 out of 10. It is a big step down, but it is direct to video, and knowing that going into it, I guess I'm giving it an extra point. If this was a direct to theater release, I'd probably be harsher on it. But it's just not a good movie. It's a step down. Will I ever be able to watch it again? Probably. But I don't see myself going out of my way to watch it again. But 5 out of 10 for Critters 3 from 1991. Go ahead and comment down below your thoughts on Critters 3. Do you like it more, the same, or less? Comment down below. Please like this video, hit the little notification bell, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. It would really help me out for the future content on my channel going forward. So, with all that being said, I hope you're enjoying our Critters franchise review series here. We've still got Critters 4 and Critters Attack to review, as well as my final summary and ranking of all 5 Critters movies coming up here in February. So with that being said, thank you for watching. Hope you're doing well. But as always, stay scared. Bye.